Our next question, Jim, also on Twitter using the hashtag CornyDriveThru, is from Nostalgic Dave Dynasty.
Hello, Dave Dynasty, and my best wishes to Monica.
I was listening to an old drive-thru, and you mentioned a show and meet and greet fiasco in Indianapolis around 2004.
Oh, good God.
I've never heard this story, and being a Hoosier by birth, I'm intrigued.
Oh my God. I wish I'd have known about this question ahead of time, because I would have sat down and made notes, because it's been over 15 years, but this fiasco. But this guy, some guy, was going to do a fan fest and wrestling event in Indianapolis. And I think it was either late 2004, maybe 2005, because the Midnight Express had just started doing the reunions. And he wanted me and the Midnight Express, and he had booked a lot of guys. Cactus Jack was there. Mick was there. I can't remember who all was, but a number of names were not only on the Fan Fest all day, but on the card. Well, Indianapolis is 100 miles up the road from Louisville. And so I was trying to help the guy because he seemed genuine on the phone. And I said, all right, besides booking the Midnight and myself, at the time I was with OVW here, I said, are you going to buy television commercials? How are you doing your advertising? We can make you a commercial. I can cut you a promo, send it to you, whatever. Oh, yeah, great. As a matter of fact, he ended up buying like $500 worth of commercials on the OVW TV show because a few of the OVW guys, the Midnight Express, we're in Louisville. We're on TV, so we're going to promote this show up the road. And so then I got Danny Davis involved, where we cut we made a commercial spot and aired it for a month on the program, I think twice a week, whatever the fuck. And so anyway, this whole big deal. And with the hotel, he's got us at the hotel at X hotel place. And here's the reservation confirmation, the whole 9 yards. So we all get up there and we go to the building the day of and start doing the Fan Fest in this pretty big building. Can't remember what the name of it was, but it was a building. You could seat a couple thousand people in this thing. And everybody's got a table. And the Fan Fest, there wasn't 150 people come through this Fan Fest between like 11 in the morning and 5 in the afternoon. And so at least me and the Midnight had plenty of time to catch up and visit, right? But now they're going to do a show. And as I said, Mick Foley's there and these other names. And so Dennis was the one that said, let's go get our money, because as a matter of fact, he had sent some type of deposit also, right? So I went and talked to the guy, and that's when we heard they were having issues. Apparently, we found out this guy's young, and he didn't have any money. He thought that everybody was just going to come and buy a ticket, and as sometimes this happens, he shows up with no money except what's going to come in at the door to pay everybody, besides the deposits that have been sent out. Well, the Midnight Express and I are missing half our money, plus the money that my business partner, Danny Davis, has been promised from this guy for doing a TV commercial and running a schedule. And I go there, I'm like, whatever his name was, I can't remember now. I'm like, what the fuck, dude, right? Seriously. You put us all through this, and you weren't prepared for this? Well, my mom and dad, his mother and father were coming, and they were going to bring some money, and he's gone. And then we heard he's gone to the ATM, and apparently they cleaned every bit of money they could get out of the ATM, and his father and mother showed up, and they brought some money. And so anyway, we're sitting in the locker room, and they said, well, the guy and his parents are closed up in the ticket office. And he's sending stooges back and forth to ask. So they come in and ask, well, will you take this? If he gives you X amount of dollars. And of course, Cactus is already, hey, let's give the people a show, because like 3 or 4 people showed up for the show that night. And anyway, I'm leaving some details out on the back and forth, but basically the guy's emissary comes over to the locker room and he says, will you guys work the Midnight Express? Will you guys work the show and do whatever we were going to do? If he gives you X dollars now and promises that he'll send X dollars afterwards. All right, we're here. So the guy comes back over with a check from either the guy's mother or father for the amount we agreed to, minus the 2 nights, the previous night and that night in the hotel. They took our hotel money. I said, what the fuck? Well, that's to pay for the hotel. I said, we didn't ask to come up here. We didn't ask to stay in that hotel. We're not on a goddamn a fucking vacation here, and we're staying there for fucking fun. It's not Caesar's Palace. And that's when I got hot, because now the Midnight's come up here on my say-so. Fucking Danny Davis has done this shit on my say-so. I went out in the building. I went to the fucking box office. They opened the door. I said, you motherfucker. I said, you call us. You ask us to come here. You make promises. You get me to stick my fucking neck out. You string us along all day. You get us to agree to some other deal, and now you're going to take us our hotel money out of the deal that we made to save your ass? Fuck you. Here's what's going to happen. I'm going to pay the Midnight Express what they're owed so they're whole, and we're going to leave right now. And then you, motherfucker, are going to send me a check for the money that you owe me and my business partner at my house, at my address that I have given you, or I'm going to find you. I'm going to fucking down. I'm going to and your parents there are going to be working for me for the rest of your fucking life. And then on the way out, I said, ladies and gentlemen, we are now leaving. You ain't going to see what you paid to see here tonight because the promoter is a pussy. His mommy and daddy are now trying to bail him out. He didn't know what he was doing, and we are leaving. More will follow, and you're all getting fucked. So ask for your money back. And then as people began to riot, Dennis smiled at me and said, Corny, it's just like the old days in Louisiana. And we left as some people were coming yelling at us, going to fight us. Some people were storming the box office to get their money back. Some people were up in arms just over the whole fucking, gall of the whole thing. And we got in the car and went back to the fucking hotel and had a nice dinner. I paid the boys. And then later on, sure enough, a check arrived in my fucking mailbox. And that's the last I ever heard of that fucking guy.
All right. I hope that answered the question.
I can't believe I talk to people regularly that were there when I've done comic conventions, and since then, I can't believe Dave Dynasty didn't hear about that. It was and Mick talked everybody into going ahead and working to give the people a show.
My favorite Fiasco convention story is still the one at the Cow Palace, which was a nightmare, but...
Oh, yes, I was offered to be booked on that, and I graciously declined, not only because I wasn't going to fly all the way across the country, but also because I heard who else was booked on it already, and I said, okay, this is going to be a goddamn disaster.
Well, my favorite part of the whole thing was there was a line I read, I think it may have been in Brian Alvarez's Figure 4 Weekly at the time, that while all this craziness was going on and the wrestlers were in an uproar, the line was... Steve Austin showed up and was debriefed by Mike Lano. And then for a time, Mike Lano was banned from the Cow Palace because of his involvement in, I guess, rallying the wrestlers up or whatever happened there.
Didn't one of the MMA guys, because there was MMA guys as well as pro wrestlers, didn't them pull a gun on somebody else in the fucking elevator and everybody was trying to find a promoter to get their money?
There was something that happened in the hotel. I don't remember.
And he'd booked the Midnight Express, Bobby and Dennis also. And then Dennis called me and said, hey, Corny, going to do this big deal. Everybody's going to be there. I said, I don't think you better do that either. And then come to find out later on, they'd never got a plane ticket, so they didn't get involved in that. But a bunch of people actually got tickets and went there expecting to be paid. And why, when you heard the lineup, the building, and the fact that nobody had ever heard of the fucking promoter before, why you would have gone, I have no idea. Wishful thinking, smoking the hopium, as they say. You know what, Brian? If one of these outlaw mud show promoters sells you a ticket to see people, and then those people that you bought a ticket to see are not there, that's actionable. If only we knew a good lawyer, if only we knew somebody who had a legal license and all the expertise in the world and could hold big major corporations to account for the way that they damage people or take advantage of people or frivolously play with people's rights and emotions. If only we knew a man like that.
Call Stephen P. News. mud show or two. Skills for the rest.
Yes, folks, whether you were taken advantage of the old bait and switch by a mud show wrestling promoter, or whether you have been victimized by one of the major corporations, for example, 3M, the defective earplugs that were given to our service people that caused hearing damage. Stephen P. New of newlawoffice.com, 888-692-8084, is filing those cases within the next few months. The class action suit there, the opioids and the opioid addiction situation that was caused by these major pharmaceutical companies. Those suits are being filed very shortly. We found out about the nursing homes, some of the nursing homes, the old folks' homes, the rest homes, as they used to call them. People who can't take care of themselves and can't fend for themselves have been the victims of abuse and mistreatment. And Stephen P. New's cracking down on that, as well as the Zantac cancer cases. All of the, and hopefully I will not be joining this class. I'm a former proponent of Zantac. And folks, if you've watched as much bad wrestling over your lifetime as I have, you've taken a lot of Zantac. You may need to be calling Stephen P. New, whatever your case. If it's one of those or another where you feel that you need legal recourse, Stephen P. New can either take care of you, let you know who can, or tell you it's a lost cause. But he's honest, so he got that going for you. An honest attorney. Holy shit, what'll they think of next? 888-692-8084, newlawoffice.com to get even with Stephen, the consigliere of the cult of Cornette, and a big bluegrass music fan, Brian, also. I'm sure he enjoyed my rendition of Dooley the other day.
I understand he was thinking about getting a class action suit for listeners who had an issue with their ears after you sang about possibly suing. Just what I heard. I don't know if there's any truth to that.
I don't think he would turn his talents on me, but he will turn them on the people that deserve it, folks. Stephen P. New, newlawoffice.com, 888-692-8084.